Welcome everyone to this 60-second Hands-on Agile Meetup. Today, best-selling author and friend of the meetup, David Pereira, is joining us again, and we will talk about how to move from backlog manager to actual product manager and doing so in a professional way while having fun at it. David, stage is yours. Please let us know what you think about this.
Perfect. So hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. For some of you, it's the end of the day. So I hope you still have some energy. I promise I will try not to bother you to death. I will do my best to bring some relevant content. So why don't we explore something? It's a little bit of story of my life. The beginning of my journey, I was promised to be a product manager, but then after 2-3 years, I realized I was no more than a backlog manager. Took me a while. Let's say I was ill-equipped for the job. Okay, blame on me. But today we're going to talk about what I learned over these years. How do we move from outputs to outcome? And one of the things that we will explore, and I would say we have some surprise for you in the end. So I just released my book, Untrapping Product Team. Getting quite some support. I'm amazed by that. I started writing that out of a personal pain. And many times I imagine, what would I like to tell to the young David who started in 2012 trying to create digital products as a product manager? So I started sharing stories throughout my career. And the book, it is not about telling you what you should be doing. It is about helping you understand the things that distract you and how could you tackle that. Giving perspective. I don't own the truth, but I share multiple perspectives and maybe it helps you. And before we jump into that, one thing that I like doing is setting expectations. And we are going to have something here. So I prepared a quick Mentimeter for us. And you can use a QR code, but I will also just drop a message here so everyone can have direct access to that. So you can just use it. So I want to know, you decided to join here. What do you expect from this session? And then after that, we're going to have a little game here with a prize at the end. And I really like doing this thing of setting expectations, because if I see something I'm not going to deliver, I will tell you so you don't get frustrated. We are honest to each other, Ways to save time. Yeah, that's something I will share for sure. Fun. I'll give tips, yes. Clarity, knowledge. We'll share what I know. Tips, tricks, practical inspiration. Something new. Let's see. We'll share what I have learned. Maybe it's new, maybe it's not, but you will tell me later. Improve clarity, anti-patterns. Yeah, I talked a lot about it. Our friend Stefan also talks a lot about it. Don't forget, he has a great book here, just here, that is the guide for Scrum anti-patterns, the best you can find. But I will share my view as well. Some guidelines, better understanding, efficient tips, impulse to do better, tips for lagging indicators. Maybe I will approach something of that. Stories, yeah, you're gonna get some stories. Well, based on what I see here, I think we're good to go. There will be no surprise. You're going to get something. I think you're not going to leave with empty hands. And probably get something you can use today for better tomorrow. Now, there's going to be a little quiz. And the quiz has a prize at the end. You're going to get a year subscription of my newsletter. That is worth $50. So the winner gains that 1 year for free. If you are not up for that, you just donate it. You ask for someone who would like to that, and then you give it. So what do you get from my newsletter? You get several guides and many things and so on, and more than 300 posts. And you can have access to all of that. So I'm going to have here just a few questions to see where you are in terms of this digital product game. So some of you are here. All the others can join if you want to be part of that. So I know there are more people, and then we can just explore here. Just wait a little bit. Here we go. What's product strategy for you? A vision, a plan, and solid conditions to get there. Clarity on where to land and what matters. An unchangeable set of artifacts teams must follow. So what do you think? Of course, you could look at this and say, it depends who you ask. It's always an answer, as you can see here. No worries. There's no right, wrong. There's what happens in general. I'm trying to share what I have seen working in most of the case. So when I say here, solid conditions to get there, it's just there's no solid conditions. We are going to change things as we uncover them. It is better to say, you know where you want to be and you know what matters. What am I talking about? Who are you serving? Why are you serving this person? Who are you not serving? How do you differentiate from competition? Which game are you playing? Are you playing the go-to-market game, the growth game, the retention? Are you trying to upsell? What are you trying to do? So that's the thing. Strategy will give you the conditions to simplify decision-making. But one of the things of strategy, it evolves with time. Good. Second question. What's product discovery for you? A process to gather requirements, a way of learning from real users and uncover value drivers, a method to ensure you create value with features you deliver, an approach to validate user interface with customers. Let's see, how does it go? All right, so I will tell the trick of the third one, a method to ensure you create value with features you deliver. I'm sorry to break it to you, cannot guarantee that. You're going to realize sometimes what you deliver doesn't drive value. And then you know what you need to do? What most people don't do. There's something called trash bin. It's good to put things that don't work there. It's good, put there. And the first one is not about gathering requirements. Requirements are something a little bit dangerous. We perceive them as ultimate and we need to deliver. There are indeed some, I would say, hard requirements. In Germany, you have the VAT of 19% for some things, and that's it. There's nothing you can do about it. So there is a VAT 7% for other products, 7, 19, and so on. But that's a hard requirement. But turns out that most things are not hard requirements. We need to understand what they are for. So product discovery is all about learning. And I will tell you one thing. When you do product discovery right, you learn you're wrong fast enough. Third question. So let's see what you get here. What's product delivery for you? A way to produce what creates value. A steady process that maximizes output. The next step after product discovery. The best part to outsource when creating digital products. Great. It is all about creating value. It is not about maximizing output. Output is a means to an end. And if product delivery is not delivering value, we are doing something wrong. And it is not a next step of product discovery because they have an overlap. One helps the other become better. So it's iterative. And I'm super happy you didn't put the last one. 2 more, and then we will know the winner. Which statement sounds right? PM defines strategy, PO executes it. Leadership sets direction, teams figure out how to get there. Leadership sets direction and define how teams should get there. All right, almost everyone got there. So the first one would be correct if we are working with SAFe, which can be the case for some of you. but it's not what I recommend in most of the case. I actually like saying that it's end-to-end responsibility. We're going to explore a little bit more of that. And the last one, there's a danger, because leadership should not tell the team how to get there. It should tell them where to get and equip the team to figure out what will enable them to get there. Last one. How often should the strategy be reviewed? Once it's working, don't change it. Once a quarter, once a year, as often as necessary. Let's see. As often as necessary. And what does that mean? It means something happens that forces us to change our strategy. Maybe there's a new player in the market. Maybe we change our target audience. Or maybe we just realize our strategy doesn't deliver on what we expected. So there are different things that can happen. But for sure, you should not change your strategy every second day or every 2 weeks. Generally, it takes some time, but there is an event that will trigger you to change your strategy. Probably it will make your current strategy not the best course of action. So that's why you need to change it. Now, let's see who is the winner. It is the hustler. Congratulations. So you just drop your email and I will grant you 1 year subscription of my newsletter. And now let's talk a little bit about moving from this thing here. So I want to talk about theory and reality so we can come to the same place here. When I generally start with the product manager in any place, there's something called the promised land. And if you look at the product manager, what is this person doing? This person is making the decisions. Where should it go? What should it do? What should it not do? And this person will craft a product vision, something inspiring that everyone will stay behind. And every day they will be able to connect their actions to the vision. We'll set a strategy. What enables us to get close to our vision? We'll also uncover what is worth pursuing, problems that customers care about, and they would give value to the business exchange if we solve those problems. Also, product managers will partner with business. We work hand in hand together. And they will craft outcome roadmaps. So no one is told what to do. Everyone is told what to achieve. And we always talk to customers, right? Those who interact with our product, we know the customers, so we talk to them. And we maximize the value for the business and for the customer. So that's what we are supposed to do, right? So that's the scenario where we all want to be. But then something generally is a little bit different. I haven't seen exactly what can happen if it's like this. The scenario I call as the harsh reality. Let's see what happens. Actually, instead of being a decision maker, you're going to be a decision follower. Someone's going to decide and then you follow the decision. And there's a big chance you don't have a product vision. You lack that. So if you ask, where are we going? And then everyone say something a bit different. And what is the strategy? Well, you're not going to set that. You follow if that is available. There's one strategy that is, it's a kind of a default strategy. You may have seen that in different companies. It's called the HIPPO, the highest paid person opinion. Maybe it's just me, but it's common strategy. Many places use, might be very good. And there's another saying, instead of uncovering ideas worth pursuing, what are you going to see? You're going to bet on features and you hope for the best. You invest 3 months building something. Voila. Did it work? Only God knows. And instead of partnering with business, what are you going to do? You're going to please them. You need to please the stakeholders. And the roadmap, of course, you're going to plan features. And what you're going to do, are you going to talk to customers? And maybe, most probably, you're going to exchange with business people. And what defines success? Simple. Maximizing features nobody needs. That's what happens in reality. But we should not complain. We should figure out how to deal with that. Either we like it or not, there's a big chance some of the things I'm mentioning here are going to happen. But there's a way out of that. So let's just look here into the big picture. There's a promised land and a harsh reality. When we look at the promised land of being a product manager, it's all about maximizing value for both sides, customers and business. So we thrive. The harsh reality is about creating features nobody needs. You're going to see that more often than you would like to. It's sad. But what I learned is when we look at the left side, that is the role of few product managers. It does exist, believe it or not, it does exist. In this case, when you have these characteristics, delivering value is easier. But when you are in this side, which most probably you're going to see some signs of this in your scenario, delivering value is almost mission impossible. So we need to have some things, some attitudes to bring to the game so we can change it. And that's what I'm going to share with you here. How do we move from product manager to backlog manager? First, we need to understand the difference and give some hints here. So you can't say, am I doing this or that? Let's start exploring a few stuff here. Remember, I asked the question, what is the difference between a product manager and the product owner? In general, if you ask this question, there will be a depends. Depends who you ask. As hang the phone up. As come darauf an. It depends. So that's what happens. But generally, there is a common view that would be something interesting, which is product manager is going to take care of the strategy and the product owner will execute it. But I would say if we get to this situation here, when the product manager takes care of the strategy and the product owner executes, that will have an inevitable handover. And I've been in this situation. First, I was a product owner and I could make all the calls. And then we decided to implement something called, I think it's undercover waterfall agent. It's SAFE. That's the name. I was trying to remember that. It's SAFE. And then someone said, hey, David, you are now responsible for the delivery. You need to figure out how to do the thing right. And somebody else is going to find what is the right thing to do. I said, but somebody else should be me, right? No, it's not you anymore. Because there's another person who will look at the future and talk to customers, and then you are going to deliver on that. This person finds what is the right thing to do, and then you do the thing right. I said, What happened was a blame game. We would not succeed together, and then I would say bad decision from the product manager, and the product manager would say bad decision from the product owner. And nobody would win. Everybody would lose. Unfortunately, that's the scenario for many people. But the best way is the following, that the product manager and the product owner are actually part of the same game. And what am I talking about here? I'm saying that the product manager goes from strategy to execution. And the product owner is a role which is best filled by the product manager. So we should not be talking about the names. They don't really matter. What matters is the responsibility. It should be end to end. One bus, one driver. If you try looking at football, the guy, the coach who is going to define the strategy, how the team is going to play, is it going to be a different coach who will go to the field and sit with the players? I don't think so. It will be the same coach. They will work day to day together, understand what is the strategy. And when it comes to execution, during the day of the game, it's the same coach. So that's what we want to see more. We want to ensure that it's end-to-end responsibility. Let me explain some things here so you can see the difference now between product manager and backlog manager. A core difference, what I constantly see, is that product managers are going to focus on uncovering opportunities to create value. So what would be an opportunity? An opportunity can be a problem that customers, they want to get it solved. Could be a need that they need to have it covered, or could be a wish. But you are not trying to deliver feature, you're trying to create value. And backlog managers will focus on, writing detailed backlog items. So teams will know what they need to deliver when. So the user stories are so precisely written that any software engineer would implement the user story without talking to anyone. You see what the problem is? There's no collaboration, and there's a misuse of the user story, because user story is about collaborating. So that doesn't fly, because then you limit software engineers to coders. You also limit them to doers, and you want them to be achievers. So let me give you an example here. What would a backlog manager do? A backlog manager would write the user story alone like this. As a customer, I want to have Google sign in, so I don't have to create additional password. Acceptance criteria. Users can sign up with Google. If the user already has an account with Google, it can replace the current user. The previous sign-up methods work as now. What are you seeing here? It is a solution. You may see a little bit hint at the problem, no additional password, but someone here is just going to implement. That is when you become the bottleneck. That's when you lose the power of collaboration, because you start telling people what to do. A product manager would do a little bit different. What is the context? 80% sign-up drop. That's what happens. Everyone who arrives in our initial page and tries to sign up, they drop. After 10 interviews, we understand customers find our sign-up process cumbersome and refuse to sign up before using our tool. So there was something else here. It was not about creating an additional password. The customers were not seeing value in sign-up. Opportunity, reduce sign-up friction, assumption. If we let customers use the platform before signing up, this will end up increasing the sign-up rate. There's an assumption here. Then what we do? You invite the team to ideate on potential solutions and test them, and then you decide if you want to invest further or not. So that's one example. Let's talk about more. Product managers measure the outcome and decide what to do next based on evidence. Backlog managers do all they can to ship features faster and continuously. Don't get me wrong, shipping features is not bad, but shipping features for the sake of it, that is bad, because the ones that don't deliver desired results, they're good to go, not to stay in the product. There is sometimes a misunderstanding that a great product is the one you have nothing else to add. For me, a great product is the one you have nothing to remove, because you remove so many things that the product is thin, but it gets the job done. So the product manager will not allow to move to the next feature before you understand if the one you shipped lately is creating value. That's the difference. You focus on the outcome, not only the output. What is another thing that happens? Let's talk about stakeholders. The difference here is very clear. I was a person who was pleasing stakeholders. What I would do day in, day out when I started my journey, I would go to the stakeholders and say, what do you want? And they would tell me what they wanted. So I would take the requirements down and I would ask them, maybe we could do these on top. So I was just building on their ideas. But there was one thing I was not doing. I actually didn't ask them why they need it. And even worse, I didn't try to understand how they knew that would deliver on customer needs. The hard way I learned one thing. The wants from business stakeholders don't go hand in hand with the needs from end users. But you need the stakeholders. It's very unlikely that as a product manager, you know it all. You don't. So how do you do that? You start building partnerships with business people. And sometimes you need to have some conflicts, which is okay. And conflict here is not a fight. It is about having a different opinion, and then you bring to the table and then you discuss. But the discussion should be based on evidence, not on opinions, and not for sure on position and hierarchy. One thing that you need to learn is stakeholders are neither customers nor enemies. They are your partners. The term stakeholders is a bit loaded. It is sometimes confusing. I try separating that. For me, customer is customer. I know that technically customer is a stakeholder, user is a stakeholder, but I like separating business stakeholders, the one internal, and so on. So don't put everyone in the same bucket. But bear in mind, the business stakeholders are for sure not your enemies. They are your partners. Get together with them. What is another thing here? It is how you work with the team. Real product managers will talk to the team about what they uncover, what they want to solve, and they will figure out how to craft solutions together. And they will focus on what they want to achieve, not what they want to deliver. The difference, what happens with a backlog manager, is planning by capacity. So, you know how I started sprint planning? I did that. No worries if you are doing this. You say, hey, last sprint we delivered 37 story points. How is our capacity for this sprint? And then someone will say, hey, I have 2 days off this sprint. Okay, 2 days off for you. Then I do calculation here. Okay, so let's trim it down. Can we deliver 35 story points? Yeah, 35 is good. All right, let's select the stores that make 35. And then after you put all the stores that sum up to 35 story points, you say, what is our sprint goal? How do we come up with a sprint goal that will, connect with this? And then if you don't find, you just use the standard sprint goal. I think they should add that to the Scrum guide, which is deliver all features by the end of the sprint. It's the standard one. If you don't have one, use this one. Well, the product manager would start differently. You would start, okay, let's look at our learnings from the last sprint. So this is what happened. So what would be success by the end of this sprint? It would be amazing if we reach that. What could we do to do that? So you start a conversation with the goal and then you walk backwards. And one of the beauties that can happen with that is instead of saying what we could fit in our sprint, we say what we could achieve. And you see that people are quite creative and you end up achieving even more. You need focus if you want to deliver better results. All right, now let's talk about one challenge. It is very unlikely that whatever place you work, everything will be perfect. What the backlog manager will do, will follow order from management and strive to make them happy in the short term while ignoring the entire patterns. There are different reasons someone can do that. Maybe you just want to trade time for money. It's your choice. I'm not judging. But then you want to make the game better. That's all right. You can make peace with that. But if you do want to be a product manager, you need to face one reality. Some companies, they work the way they work. It's not because they are bad. It's because they haven't seen other ways of working. Someone could take the chance of showing them. You should not lecture them. It's not going to work. You could try making something different, step by step, and showing results. Because results talk louder than opinion. There will be moments that management's not going to like because you did differently than what they said. But once you show results, they will understand. And then you can challenge the status quo. The product managers will focus on doing what is necessary, not what is easy. What is going to happen is if you want to complain, nothing happens. But if you take a stand, then you have a chance of success. You just take a stand. You give success a chance. And one of the core difference for me, it is in the attitude. Product managers are authentic leaders. They inspire the others. While backlog managers are uninspiring managers. There's a lot of micromanaging. You ensure that the backlog is bloated. You have all stories in, and you have no idea what they are for. Product managers will probably not have a backlog that would last 2 or more sprints. They are always driving forward, looking forward, adapting to what they know. And they are great leaders. And let me tell you my definition of great leader that comes from Simon Sinek. A great leader is not the one coming up with all the great ideas, A great leader is the one creating the space where great ideas can happen. So product manager is going to create this space. Let me try giving you 5 things that you could do today. Some of them may scare you, but maybe I share a few stories that would encourage you to do so. The first one is generally challenging, but let me go straight to the point. Delete your backlog. Yeah, that's it. Delete your backlog. Don't believe me? I tell you. I got a new job. Started there. My backlog had 1,762 items. I will never forget this number in my whole life because my manager told me, David, you need to learn our business. I said, perfect. Show me your business model. Yeah, that's the thing. We don't have it. I said, all right. So can you show me your value proposition? We don't have it, but we have a backlog. Go to our backlog. You will see what our stakeholders are asking, where we are going. And once you understand our backlog, you know everything. Poor David. David decided to do that. I spent 1 week doing that. I understood nothing. There was someone asking for newsletter, another person asking for price algorithm, and another was asking to ditch all newsletter. And then someone else was saying, we need a new checkout engine. And someone was saying, our product information management doesn't work. And I said, what is that? I started talking to a few stakeholders. They said, I don't remember when I asked that, and so on. And my first attitude was, I'm going to delete everything that was not touched over the last 6 months. I did that. I got 2 emails. One was a stakeholder saying, I swear to God, I didn't create this nonsense. I said, nice. Another was from QA. Thanks for closing this. The bug was closed probably 6 months ago. I said, good. Gonna do it again. 3 months. Everything untouched over the last 3 months. Good to go. Another bunch of items. No email. Silent. And then I kept doing that to the moment we had only 50 items. Then I look at the team and said, oh, we have these items here. And then we were looking at that. We could try figuring out what to do. And the team was still confused. And I said, you know what? I'm going to delete this thing. I deleted it. Everyone panicked. But we start having conversation. We start asking one question. And the question was, where do we want to be? And we got clarity on that. Our customers are leaving us. It doesn't matter how fast we acquire customers. They just don't stay. So we had a retention problem. And they said, okay, so now we know where we want to be and we know where we are. And the question now is, what do we do next? And that's how we started the backlog. So once you delete your product backlog, you're going to have the conversations that matter. If you're afraid of doing that, just archive the items and so on. But I will tell you, everything that matters will come back to you. And the things that don't matter, they're good to go. Another thing is, look at your features. Things are unused there. What about removing them? I will tell you one story. One of the places I worked, we had a constant challenge. The customer service was loading us with requests, and they wanted us to equip them to be more efficient because they had too many requests. So I asked them, what is the most frequent request you have? It was related to refund and cancellation. Funny enough, everything was in my account. That was an online e-commerce. I said, everything is there in my account. It's an online shop. And what I realized is that customers couldn't find that because my account was so loaded with information that no one could find it. And then I did a report there trying to understand how often the features were used. They were not. 50% of the features were not used over the last 6 months. And guess who supported me to hide these features? Nobody. Everyone said, what if they need it? I said, they don't need it. 6 months, nobody's using it. And then I didn't ask for permission. I just hid the menus. Funny enough, as we did that, the customers start finding the refund and the cancellation functionality. They stop calling the customer service. So removing features, you can add loads of value. This is what I call as adding by subtracting. Now I tell you one thing. There are many meetings that they just waste your time. You need to ditch most of them. You don't need to have that amount of recurrent meetings. And why am I saying that? Big chance most of you are working on a hybrid scenario. I remember when I worked in the office, things were different. I already had loads of meetings. In the beginning of my journey, I thought I was not a product manager. I thought I was a meeting manager. But there was a limit, and the limit was called physical space. There were 9 meeting rooms in the building, so we had to find space, And there were limited chairs. And what happened today? Today we have unlimited rooms and unlimited space. As a result, more meetings with more people. That doesn't make sense. We need to remove most of the meetings so we can have space. So we should not let the calendar drive our action. We should be the driver, not the passenger. And I give you another polemic one. Stop estimating. Yeah, that's a polemic. Many people like having star points and so on. They may help you, but most of the time they distract you. It's hard to find someone who agrees on what 2 star points mean or 5 star points. But what if we say, how much do we want to invest into that? Let's say we are going to invest into that maybe this sprint and we see how far we get, and then we decide if we want to invest further. I like asking a question, what can we achieve in a sprint? And then we decide if we want to go further or not. It's more about what we want to achieve instead of what fits our budget. And the last one I want to tell you is focus. One goal at a time. The more you parallelize, the less value you can create. It's important to define one goal. I know stakeholders will push you to deliver everything. And you can tell them, if you want these 5 things in parallel, you're going to get these 5 things later. But if you bear with me and we prioritize one at a time, we get this done, collect the value of that, and we jump to the next one. Failing to prioritize is failing to do product management. And now, let me tell you, we are going to take some questions. There's always a choice, and it's up to you. You can, indeed, accept whatever it is the status quo. You say, I'm fine with that, Dave. I don't want to have any fights, I'm fine with that. That's okay. It's up to you. But then it will remain as it is. So just be aware, if you complain, nothing happens. But if you have a little bit of, a little bit of drive, maybe challenge the status quo, and then you have a chance of a better tomorrow. You don't need to change everything. Pick one thing, one at a time, and then you can change gradually. Then I ask you, what is your choice? So that was a talk. You can subscribe to my newsletter to get more content like that. It's Untrapping Product Team. You're going to find that on Substack and so on. I have a free model. It's a freemium model. You can get almost everything there, and there are a little bit more of premium. And I said that I would have something special for you. So I agreed with my publisher that I'm going to give you 35% off my book. So if you want to get the book, you can use this QR code here, and you're going to get to my website. And then there's a link there called Pearson. You will go to the publisher's website. And if you put this voucher, which is my family name, Pereira, 35% off for you, in case you're interested. And that is valid until the end of next week. And now I would say I'm ready to take questions.
David, that was awesome. Absolutely great.
No.
And thanks a lot for giving away a subscription to your newsletter. I really appreciate that. It should be should be more examples of this kind of generosity. So we have a few questions. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so the first one comes from Denise, and she asked, what is a useful mindset as a product manager in regards to the context they are dealing with? Creator of the promised land versus victim of harsh reality.
So the mindset I say that helps us is it's all about focus on current problems over future problems. What I see happening very often is we start discussing about all the problems that we don't have, that we might potentially have in the future, instead of the current problems. So let's look at the reality we have right now, promised land and future. So let's think about one thing. What could we do right now? Let's focus on the current problems. And then you realize one of the biggest problems you have maybe is the feature factory. And you are unempowered to do anything. Say, what is the one thing I could do right now? I tell you already, if you focus on the current problems and you are delivering features nobody cares, maybe you start by challenging the features. What are the assumptions behind it? That's the current problem. You're not addressing the assumption. And then you can say, what is the fastest way for us to learn if this assumption is true or not? So I like following this principle, I would say, current problems over future problems. And the other principle, which is related to the mindset that can help, is use what you know to step into the unknown. So make it clear everything that you know, and then use that to go into the unknown, because there are many things we don't know. Because there's one sentence that's a bit funny. We don't know what we don't know. But the quicker we get our hands dirty, then we realize what we don't know.
Thank you, David. So what about the next one? Without estimation, how to arrive at quarterly roadmap, how to map alignment strategy.
Great. A great question. I love this question. So it is about making bets. So estimate is about predicting what we are going to deliver, which is one way. The other way for me is in the corporate roadmap is where we want to be, what we want to achieve. For example, what is the business outcome we want to see by the end of the quarter? Maybe our current challenge, the example I mentioned, is retention. So we want to move from a 50% retention to 75%. So that's what we want to achieve. And how do we get there? Let's figure that out. And then we make bets and we say, what are the options we have? Let's use product discover to uncover opportunities and then explore as fast as possible. So instead of saying we are going to take one sprint to deliver this, what is the fastest way to make that happen? Let me give you a clear example about an investment size. I wanted to write a book, but I didn't know if I could write a book. I didn't know if people were interested in that. The very first thing I did, I posted on LinkedIn. I said, let me see if people are interested in anything I have to say. So I posted on LinkedIn and I said, if I get X reactions here and a few comments, it will show some interest. Then it means I'm going to invest more. That was a bet that costed me 20 minutes. 20 minutes, put a post there, learn some things. And then I decided to interview some people who put comment there to see what they would be up for. So I invested time interviewing 6 people. That was increasing the size of the bet. The next thing I did was to create a survey to see the level of commitment increasing. So I said, I'm going to launch a book. Can I contact you once the book is launched? So I got several hundred people waiting for that. So, all right, I see something going on here. Then I still had a question. Can I deliver this crazy book? I didn't know that. So what I did was actually, I wrote a guide. And the guide I wrote was about product strategy. And then I put in the premium part of newsletter. First, I want to see if people would pay for that. And second, if they would get the message the way I aimed to. So it turned out a few people converted. And then I interviewed some of them who read the newsletter episode. You know, they didn't get my message. I wrote poorly. So I had to adapt how I wanted to write. So I learned. So what I'm telling you is make gradual investment. And once the evidence justify invest further, then you make more investment further. And if it doesn't, you drop the idea and you pick another one. So that's how I try. You focus on the outcome so the output can vary and you are flexible enough to change on the way. So that's how I work without estimate. I work making bets. I want a bet of 1 day, a bet of 2 days, a bet of a week. And that's what we invest to learn. And the result is a learning and then a decision if you want to invest further or not. Hope that helps.
Question number 3, regarding the estimation bit. When you work for a digital agency, you have to give customers an indication of the duration because that will form the basis of the quote. How do you deal with this situation?
That's a complicated one, and it depends on the relationship. That's how I can start saying. There are 2 ways I have seen. One, I'm no bullshit guy. I would say we just make up things. We just lie. We say, we estimate to be that, and I would say our level of certainty is this. We just make up things and make up an estimate, and we deal with the problem later. But there will be a problem. Then what will happen is we need to negotiate things after. I don't like doing that. So what I did, I worked in digital agents for a few years. I started telling customers, what does success look like? And how much are we willing to invest? And we agreed with the customers that we would work towards that thing, and we would show results every 2 weeks. And the customer could always pull the plug if the results were not satisfactory. And we agreed how much was the investment for every 2 weeks. And if the customer would see it's not worth continue, the customer could pull the plug. We made it easier for an exit to the customer. We relied on the trust that we could do that. It worked when we had a relationship, and didn't work with customers that we didn't have. With customers we didn't have, we had to make up numbers, and the customers would sign the contract. And then we had to deal with the problem of negotiating scope later because something screwed up. So it's hard. It is. In this case, that's what I suggest. Build the relationship and then talk honestly and say, if we want to do the work and get results, let's not talk about how we do the work. Because many times it happens, we start talking about the work, but not doing the work. That's what estimates are about. Say, it's better if you get hands-on, doing the work and learning instead of talking about it. But that requires trust.
Deutsche Bank used to say in the 1990s, trust is the beginning of everything. I hate to quote them, but they were certainly right about this. Okay, we have a last question. We will finish on time. It's awesome. Thank you for the voucher. Not a question on the topic, but on your book shipping. Does it make sense to deliver to Europe via Pearson from the States?
Yeah, so I did a calculation that if you are in Germany, you are going to get the book. It will cost you in the end 22 euros, roughly. You will have to pay taxes. The shipping will be for free. So the taxes will be 90% of the whole order. And Pearson will send it for you. So you'll get 35%. If you get that in Amazon, it will be available from tomorrow in Germany. And that will cost 36 euros. So it's up to you. In Germany, you'll get it faster. The USA, it will take a little bit longer, but you decide. So both work. The voucher, unfortunately, I can only get from Pearson because they are the publisher. So I sent you the link and you can choose there. And the voucher code is here for those who want.
You may consider just downloading the ebook, which works very well and at a very competitive pricing, I can tell you. So that might be not bad. Unless if you want to have the paper version, then it's a bit more difficult. And for the environmentally concerned among you, you also have a different carbon footprint if you order from the States, right? Okay. So, David, that was awesome. Thank you so much for your guidance on getting out of this hamster wheel of product backlog management. And thank you so much for providing the free subscription, and on top of that, this code to making untraffic product teams more accessible. So kudos for everything here, and it's been a great pleasure. And hopefully we can repeat this anytime soon.
Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Thanks a lot.
It was great. I hope everyone enjoyed. You get some benefit. Had some expectations at the beginning. I hope I deliver on that. And we keep in touch. You can reach me out and I will show up again. And Lisa, you already have the subscription.
Awesome. So everyone else, thanks a lot. I already have applied a few other meetups. Until then, enjoy this lovely time of the year. If you're European and like soccer, my God, that will be a fantastic time. Otherwise, we hopefully meet again in July and then on in September. Take care until then. Bye.